just to double check.
You're live.
Okay, my wife tells me we're live. All right.
Okay, well, there we go. We're live. We're live.
There you go, yeah. All right. So how's it going, everybody? This is Comics and Nonsense. You hear my kid in the background. She's very excited to be a part of this also. So you're going to have like the kids version, but not really, of Comics and Nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
With just Tyrone and myself. Britt is out of town right now. He's on vacation. How's it going, Tyrone?
Yeah. It's going. It's going. It's another
Are you sure?
good day.
You sound confused.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out where to come from with the comics that I read, like which angle.
Oh.
But
Wow. It's alive.
yeah. So that's good.
Did you read the comic?
Gonna be interesting, but it's good. I read.
Oh, did you read Team Burton's Battle?
Yeah, I did. I read that one.
Ooh.
Let's
just kick it off with that, man.
Okay, we'll kick it off with that. So I'll kick it off with some of the things that I like. Like I love the feel that I had. I like the artwork because the artwork gave me like that old 1960s science fiction, pulp type of film.
Very stoic looking type stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The stoic heroes and the pulp artistic style and stuff. So I like that about it. That was pretty cool. I did like the transition that they used where it went from like reading the comic book and that comic book actually being about that person. I mean, I saw it.
It's kind of meta in a way, right?
Yeah. It was real meta, so I dug that. And as a writer, I kind of saw that coming because it's still one of those tropes that is used where someone's watching a TV show about them, or like they'll go through their things, and then at the end a movie's being made about the stuff that they went through, or a comic book. So I saw that coming when he was sitting there reading. I'm like, he's reading this heroic story, to his daughter. But there were some things in it, like it mixed. Like I think some of the things that I had an issue with, I felt like it couldn't find out what it was that it wanted.
I felt that too.
Yeah,
like it kept going different places. Like it kept going to a time jump. It kept talking about like the wife, but it didn't really like give you any substance inside that issue.
Yeah, and I figure that's probably something that's going to come in a later book. So I won't harp on that too much. But the parts where I was really talking about is like the tone of it. Like it didn't. I didn't know which genre it wanted to be in. Like did it want to be cheesy? Was it trying to be pulp? Was it trying to be serious? Was it trying to be dark? Because it went across all of that, and I was like, wait a second, okay, what kind of comic am I reading at the moment?
It even kind of went Watchmen towards the end, like with that. You had to at the very end, you had like to read this comic book, and the comic book was about this person's life that you've been seeing the entire time. But it was kind of like what happened, but in a very skewed and very like how I put like in an evil white man kind of way.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like when it got to the end of it, because like I enjoyed the fight. One of the things that I really did like, because sometimes you don't see this in comics. I personally try to put it into my comics, even though I try to keep it scared, like not really scarce, but to a point where people understand it. Because like I was in the military for 13 years, Marine Corps and the Army, so I mean, I learned how to fight in battles and learned how being an NCO and stuff like that. I learned how to disseminate information so that my soldiers and Marines would know what to do if we were ever in a firefight. So I understand how that is, and I recognize it when I see it. And so one of the things that I did like is how when T-Bird was met up with, with the sidekick, or I guess, with the sidekick, even though she joked about him being her sidekick, which I thought was kind of cool.
Right.
When they met up, she was like, okay, well, what's the plan? And he just starts spitting out, this is what we're going to do, blam, blam, blam. I enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty cool because you really don't see that too much in comics. You'll just see, punch them till they die. Or,
a lot of times,
or everyone just starts swinging, it was, but that part I thought was pretty cool. But it just, I think that the creator would probably, and I don't know, like I said, like if there is another issue, because like in the indie comics world, sometimes we can only do one issue, because we either didn't get as much support as we wanted and so forth, so we can only do one issue. So if there is another issue, I wouldn't mind checking it out just to see which road it went. Because I'm not gonna lie, the cliffhanger, I was like, okay, what is he talking about? Like, what's going on? And I don't know if anyone read it, so I don't want to say too much. But the way it ended, because like the part before that, how he was kind of where it did kind of show, it looked like his wife was probably cheating on him.
But what did that happen? Because it was like a falsely told story. Yeah,
and it's like, is that happening, or is that what he was thinking? So it kind of brings some of the psychological things into it. So I wonder if, now that I'm thinking about it more, I'm wondering if it's just the outside layer is pulp, but everything behind it gets deeper as it goes. That's why I say I would like to read the second issue just to see where it went from there. Now, if I get to issue 2 and it's still, if it's like it doesn't
still
really,
like that,
and it doesn't explain anything from issue 1, and like, because how some comics, even the big 2, have this problem where they'll go to the next issue, they'll do issue 1, go to issue 2, and it's like, okay, so what happened between the ending of issue 1 and now? Like, what?
You just kind of like jumped a couple of days or a couple of hours.
A couple of weeks, just like all of a sudden, like they end fighting, like, Justice League fighting Lex Luthor or whoever, and then the next one picks up is like they're in space, and it's like, hold on, you didn't end it in space, and these are the same characters that ended in the first. How did you get here? so I mean, I've seen that a lot in comics. So I hope it's not one of those. If there's another issue, I hope that it actually picks up right at him kicking open the door.
It would be nice.
Yeah, or if it doesn't, and it picks up somewhere else, that it comes back to that. So, or comes back to an area of that where that conversation from the previous is being had. Because the way it ended, I'm like, who is he talking? That the only thing I was saying, I was like, who is he talking about? Because when she said she was like, go take your wife there, be with her, and then all of a sudden I did it, and I'm like, who are you talking about? Because the only people I know other than the sidekick, Throttle, is his wife and his daughter. So I'm like,
so who did they been talking about?
Yeah, so so like I said, the things that I did like the tactics that they were explaining to each other. I did like that and how that went. I liked the.
What about the convention that he went to?
The convention.
You think that was a point? Like, do you think that needed to be in the story? Because I didn't think it needed to be in the story.
No, not really. I mean,
it was kind of like a plot device for the comic book to show up.
Yeah, I think that was just it. I mean, unless something more comes from that eventually, but other than that, nah. Oh yeah, another thing I really didn't like is as a writer, like I was saying, as I was learning from some other writers and stuff coming into the comic book genre, because I don't care what anyone says, it's totally different from writing a short story, writing a movie script, and writing a comic script. Like it's to me, it's 3 different beasts. And I've written short stories. I started working on a novel. I've written movie scripts and stuff like that. Not anything bought, so people don't go looking for my name, seeing if I'm on IMDb. Nothing was brought. It's just things it's the type of writing that I was interested in. So I wrote and learned how to write movie scripts because I did eventually want to write something to be bought.
Gotcha.
But going to the comic realm, like one thing someone told me is like, like I was saying in the last video, is you don't want to be pretentious with your writing. So I get like a lot of people want the villains to sound
menacing.
Menacing and all this other stuff. But sometimes you can go too far. Like you can make a villain sound menacing just by saying, "I'll rip your throat out." And if you do it the correct way, and the story builds up to that line, "I rip your throat out," can be just as menacing as using a rhyme or whatever it is you're trying to use to make them sound menacing. So I mean, it's
a lot of folks will go like the expletive route. Like you put like all the swears inside of it. They describe what they're going to do. Like they're trying to have sex with the person with their words who they're about to kill. I get it.
And sometimes it can be overkill. Like it can draw away from the story, especially if the story feels like it's a certain type of tone.
I get
that. Like I said, this story had that strange adventures type, from DC and stuff like that. Like
I felt that too.
And I think if they would have stuck that route and maybe stuck that route with the villain too, or at least explain things a little more as to why.
I feel like it's the first thing you said. If they would have picked a genre to go with and just stayed that route the entire time, like it could have been like a depressed cop or depressed dad who lost his family. It could have been like a guy who turned into like a machine cyborg type thing. It could have been that story. It could have been like a space expedition, but like it wanted to throw all those things in there at one time in one issue, even with the Watchmen element at the very end, which is like the comic book that everyone was talking about. It just it had a lot of things going for it, and if it steers right and goes like one direction, then like switch up next issue, go the other direction, then switch up. Like it could be a roulette of stories.
Exactly. I think honestly, if they took this and made it a pulp make it a pulp along the lines of Strange Adventures, this story will be freaking dope. Like you can, because from looking at this character, this is the type of character they can take him into space, they can take him subterranean.
It felt just like Adam Strange.
Dimensions. Yeah. Exactly. It felt just like an Adam Strange. And I mean, he could, so much can be done with the story. And that's the reason why I said I want to find an issue 2. And if the individual who wrote this is watching, you have an issue 2, let me know, because I do want to read it.
I'll fight him and tag him.
Yeah, I will buy it from you. I will buy it without a doubt. I'm a creator too, so I'm going to support you. So I mean, I
think they have issue 4 coming out, Indiegogo.
Oh really? Okay, well there you go. I'm gonna try to get all 4 of them then to see what happens.
Yeah,
like I said, that cliffhanger, I was like, wow. But I want to see which route it goes, because if they stay that route and stay that Adam Strange, Strange Adventures type pulp type storyline, I mean,
and like I love Josh Howard. I'm sure everyone that is 16, like I really love that story. Like that really got me into Josh Howard's work. And I interviewed a guy who had like some work done, like Swiss Army Girl, like his comic had like some Josh Howard side of it also, and just like I love the story. I love like the artwork, and he makes his women be very gorgeous. His women are absolutely beautiful. Big doe eyes, like full like hourglass figure. It's like it's just old school J. Scott Campbell, Todd Knock type style work. But you saw that style like in his work, right? Yeah,
I did, and it was great. I like that part of it, because I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, I was waiting for like a blimp or something to be there, even though it looks like you can tell they're in the future. But the way the art style had, like, I was waiting for like that noir type futuristic look. Like they don't have planes, they fly around in blimps, stuff like that. That's what I was waiting for, because it did have a nice touch to it. Like it did have a nice touch to it with that. So.
There was a scene inside the comic book. This is going to be a spoiler, but like the main character gets shot in the chest. He has a big hole in his chest, and like you see this in the flashback in the first couple of issues, but you don't know what it meant. But he gets shot in the chest, and he gets like this machine, this engine put inside of his chest. And when he gets that machine put inside of his chest, he transformed into like the superhero that we're talking about inside the story, and like that, the way the tone changed, the way like the colors, where everything like looked completely different. Like I wanted that to keep on going, man.
Yeah. Another cool part about it too, like they're really driving like the T-Bird and Throttle, like the engine muscle head type of feel to it. It was you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. What I thought was really freaking cool. After she mentions that he could fly, so I'm looking at it, and when she mentioned that, she was like, "Well, all of us don't have the ability to fly," and I'm like, so how does he fly? And then a couple of panels later, you see these mufflers come out of his back, and he just flies. Like, okay, I love that. I was like, that was such a great touch.
Well, that car theme is still going.
Exactly. I was like, okay, that's a good touch. I was like, if you're gonna do it, man, go balls to the wall. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it felt like it had that pulp, Stranger Adventures type stuff. Like, I think honestly, this title can probably go in so many different directions.
Yeah. Maybe it does.
That's cool.
Maybe we should find these other issues, talk about it at a later date. Maybe it does go that route. Like I said before.
That's why I said I want to read it. I want to check out issue 2, see where it picks up all. And since you said he has issue 4?
From what I'm seeing here online, like on his Indiegogo, he has issue 4 being sold right now.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go check that out. See if I can't get my hands on 2 and 3, also. And like I said, it might be one of those very fun books to go with. I mean, because I wasn't disappointed, by it, but there were some things I was like, you could have did more with that. But
you could have did a little bit something
in the same vein, I came out, but at the end, I had a confused smile, because then I was worried. I was like, what? I don't want to spoil it, but then I was like, what happened? Like, that's all I could say whenever I was on the last page. It's like, what happened?
Because like you see something happen, you think like that thing that you're thinking may have happened, but you don't exactly know what happened. Like, he did a good cliffhanger of the story.
Yeah.
But let's move on to your comic.
Oh man. Okay.
Yamo Stigmata.
Yamo Stigmata.
Where did that name come from, man?
Yamo is a Yoruban word. Is a word from Yoruba in the Yoruba language. It pretty much means fate. So, and we all know stigmata means mark or scar or curse. So, in all, the title means cursed fate, which I think really, if you think about it, and since you've read it, I think it follows the main character, the antagonist, very well, because he does kind of have a cursed fate. And then when he meets the rest of his team, and then when he meets the rest of his team, which you read issue 2 also, they definitely have a curse. Like, all of them have their own type of deal. So, I wanted, instead of calling it cursed fate, I wanted it to have something different, and I figured, being black, why not use the African language for one of those words? So I was like, I looked in, tried to figure out what would mean fate or soul, and I found the Yoruban word Enyamo. So I decided to use that, Enyamo Stigmata. But also a hint, because you remember in issue 2, him being this American, American fighter pilot and stuff like that. Dog pilot,
dog
pilot and everything, because he was a Tuskegee Airman. The main character is a Tuskegee Airman
which was a cool twist, by the way. Like this character is from the 1940s. Can I say what happened afterwards?
Yeah.
He gets shot into like a vortex, a wormhole. It sends him off like far off distant planets. So like those, I think it's the same universe, but like far off planet, different world, and like he pretty much has to adapt himself to this new world while missing limbs. He's missing like his right arm and his right leg. It was really well done, man. I really love the hell out of it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But they're actually gonna name their ship. So the ship he's gonna eventually name it Yamo Stigmata. So so the title comes back. So that would be the title drop.
That's kind of foreboding, man. Kind of like a curse he put on himself. It sounds like.
Exactly. So he's like, because he looks at it, he's just like, he just kind of shakes his head like, we're all cursed, we all have a cursed head. He's like, and he names it that, mainly because it's a language his father knew, because mother and it was taught to them, so he understands the word and he uses it. But let me see if I think I have issue 1 over here somewhere so I can show people.
Now he's a Tuskegee Airman, so like he was born like in the early 1900s. So I mean, like his father was born just before slavery was like relinquished and people were free. But his grandparents had to at least either served in the Civil War or been a part of the Civil War somehow. I had a question.
They would have been born.
But
they would have been born like either right as slavery was being, abolished, or a little bit after is when his grandparents would have been born. So, so it's still fresh, because I mean, when he was a kid, that's when Greenwood, Oklahoma, all of that stuff happened. Freaking the uprising of the KKK, all that stuff. Like, so as he was going through all of that, he grew up through all of that.
So he got to see like the Black Wall Street and the burning of it.
And then, or at least know about seeing people hung and walking by, stuff like that.
Jeez.
Things that I was told by my grandmother, because she was not born during that. My grandmother was born in the 30s, so even still, it was right before World War II, but a lot going on during that time. But so he would have saw a lot, and a lot of that does play on him being this individual that's out on the other side of the galaxy, and the thing is, even though there are humanoids out there, he is the only guy and human there. So I know you were asking me earlier about some of the things that could have brought on the bounty being put on him. That's one of the reasons, because he was the only guy and human out there.
Ooh, so like it can be like some nefarious type thing when it comes to humans in that area. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. So like people want him like for the novelty of it. There's some reasons for that. Then of course there's some individuals who want Earth knowledge, because not all alien races know about Earth, but there are some that do. So some want him for that. And then, of course, I just threw this in there as like the funny bone, where some of the LA racists just want him to see what he tastes like because they want to eat him. You know, they never had human before. They never had guy before. They want to eat him. You know, so. But the cover for that, which I get mixed reviews. Yeah, right here. So here's the cover, the regular cover. I get mixed reviews for this one. I like it, but I probably wish I should have did more. I just want to do like a team intro type of deal with the first one. But the second cover
just came out, right? Like you just got to cover yourself.
Yeah, but this is the actual variant cover for issue 1, which I just because when I did the Kickstarter for issue 2, I added the variant for issue 1. So this is the variant for issue 1.
Oh, dude, you're Black Panther, man. I dig it.
Yeah. So it was Francesco. Francesco did this for me, and I'm actually hiring him again to do something for Stars. This dude is dope. So.
Sorry about that. Got the kids running around doing their thing. Dude, I love the story. I thought it was really good. Like I want to see so much more of it. I saw the cover you have for the next issues of this, and like he's chasing the second the second issue main character. It just makes me see a lot of stuff inside of it, and like I just really want to get into it.
I mean, I can show that because I did put that on social media. So so this is the cover for issue 2. So this is the antagonist that you're talking about. I
want to say antagonist. Yeah, I read it. Antagonist.
Yeah. So that's her. But the cover that he was talking about for issue 3 is right there. So that's going to be the cover for issue 3.
That's boss. I dig it. I dig all of it.
I wanted something like because I felt like issue 1's cover could have been so much better. So I was like, you know what? From here on out, I'm just going balls to the wall with all the covers. You know. So
who does the art? Who does the art for him?
So it's my main art team, Mark and Marvin Marvita. So they're brothers. They're from the Philippines, and they actually do Temple High for me. They do Ayama Stigmata. They do Cypher Team, and they're probably going to be on a couple of other titles too as things grow. Because we work well together. Like it's like I'll send them a script, and one thing that I do with a lot of the artists that I work with, even the cover artists and stuff, when I invite individuals to come do covers, you know, I give them full artistic reign. So like I give them my idea, and then if they feel that it'll flow better a certain way, you know, if they sketch it up and show me and I like that, I'm like, okay, let's do that. And that's what I do with Mark and Marvin, because like I'll send them the script. He'll read the script, go over it, do a sketch, and he'll tell me like, hey, I thought this would have been better going this way, or instead of being 1-point perspective, I thought it'd go better from worm's eye, or I thought it'd go better from bird's eye, or I thought this would be better at 3-point or 2-point, you know, or have your 2-point more, you know, skew to the right, or what have you, you know, and he'll come back to me with that, and then I'll look at it, and then I'll look at the script, and I'm like, okay, well, it follows the script, and that does look better than what I said, you know, as you see it as it comes into visualization.
That's got to be a weird feeling, like having your creation come to life like that.
It is. It's a very weird feeling because, like, I create the stories. Obviously, I write them, but when they are drawn, I kind of really get to see what they come into, and that's one of the main reasons why I letter all my comics too, because sometimes based off of the action in the panels and stuff like that, because I have, you know, things in my mind of how I want it to be, but if I feel like the action isn't as expressive or something looks a little calm or something like that in the panel, then I'll change the dialogue to make it flow and fit better with the artwork.
Right on. All right, I think we got enough indie out of our system for today.
Oh yeah.
Brett usually gets some history of what's going on and this and that. I think he was talking about Falcon this week. It was Falcon and some other comic book he was posting on his page. He was showing like the first appearance of Falcon, whose origin always rubbed me the wrong way. It's that classic trope of like having like the black guy be a villain or a bad guy before he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Omega Man. That's what it was. He was posting Omega Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that post too.
That was really cool. I'm not sure if it's an older comic book or not, but it was cool.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts about that? Like having having that be like the main thing, because I know a lot of people say their favorite character is Black Panther, and like I like Black Panther, but like even when you watch that movie, I want to say something that's gonna be controversial, like, but that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to push the envelope, right? Black Panther does not care about me, like as a Black American. Just saying, as a Black American, like Black Panther doesn't care. If you watch like that movie, the MCU movie, he didn't care about Black America. That's the whole point of the movie. It's like Wakanda doesn't give a fuck about Black America. Yeah. They don't give a rat's ass.
Yeah, Killmonger made him care. What his dad did to Killmonger's dad made him care. If none of that would have happened, it would have still just been concentration on Wakanda. That's all. I mean, that's how he always was. Like, no one is allowed in there unless you're Wakanda.
It's like that in the comics too, though.
It's right there in the comics. So I mean, like that was one thing. Like I think a lot of people were just happy to see an all black cast type of superhero movie, and I get it because I was happy too. I'm not even gonna lie. But I know the story of Black Panther. You know, so I mean, I was like, okay, they're feeding to it. That's the way it is. Because I mean, even with Storm, like, she really couldn't just go into there until he was like, hey, she's with me. And then it was like, oh, okay, well, come on. You know, so
that's exactly how it was. Exactly
that's pretty much how it was. You know, so I mean, a lot of people didn't understand that, or a lot of people didn't get that. And then a lot of people do, and they're just happy that
there's a seat of representation out there. And then you go to the spectrum of seeing Luke Cage. Like you see Luke Cage being introduced, like a lot of people like his character, think he's awesome, but like, you know, he started out as a hero for hire. Like, you know, he did like A-Team type shit that he helped people out, but you got to pay him to do so. Like my wife said, like he's Ray Donovan pretty much. Looks like we lost our tier Tyrone right now. We're gonna try to give him back here in a second. Sorry about that, but what I was saying was like Luke Cage is pretty much that one type of character who just he has this motive like where he doesn't try to do good. That's like change after a while. The way he started out was as a hero for hire. Like he was a hero that got paid for, and like to be a hero, then like, you know, expect to get paid for it. Like, how's that heroic? You know what I mean? Like it's hard to see it that way. It just would be a lot easier as someone bouncing off these thoughts. Now just seem like a raving madman saying this stuff out loud. So, but hopefully, Tier will be back soon, and we can talk more about this. But that's usually what I got to say about that. There's a lot of other black characters out there also. Like Storm wasn't really portrayed in the best light, and like as the years go on, you see how colorism kind of takes over, and like her shades change ever so often. You are back.
Yeah, I am. I don't know what happened.
Did you catch any of that I was talking about?
No.
Okay, it's fine.
So
I'm sure we get like some angry messages right now. So like that's all that matters.
Probably are. Like we were talking earlier when we were going through the tests and everything. It's a lot of characters that people love, but they love the movie versions of these characters and don't really understand the comic book versions of these characters.
It goes both ways too. Like they also hate some of that, like the movie version, but don't understand that the comic version are a lot cooler than the movie version.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Iron Man. Iron Man is one of the most boringest characters in the Marvel comic books, and like you can get as pissed off as you want.
He was. In the
like he's a drunk. He's a womanizer. He lies to everyone. He lied to Hawkeye so many times that like Hawkeye got the mentality of being Guy Gardner of the Marvel comic book universe. Like, because he and Tony did not get along whatsoever
at all. He started becoming the hothead.
Yeah,
Hawkeye was for a while. He was the hothead, just like Guy. But yeah, Tony was. That's why, like, I remember I had that conversation. Like, somebody was like, Tony Stark's my favorite. He's my favorite Avenger. I'm like, have you read the comics?
Have you read the comics?
Because I knew this person. I'm like, have you read the comics? And they're like, well, no. I'm like, well, here, go read Demon in the Bottle and come back and we'll have this conversation.
He's not the best person to be looking up to, man.
He's not the best person in the world. Not only that, but there's so many other things too. Just like how we were talking about Hank Pym, and that was another thing too. Like in the movies, I'm kind of glad they did the older Hank Pym, but they also made him more. I mean, he loved Janet. Don't get me wrong, but he was also a womanizer. He was a womanizer and a woman, and he beat the crap out of Janet. You know, in the comics. You know, so I can understand why they probably wouldn't put that in there. But I think it's good for people to understand both sides, both genres, because it's just like because I've had and this is weird too, because like I've had conversations with some individuals. Like I've read some Harry Potter books. I haven't read all the Harry Potter books. So in that same vein, like I have conversations with people who have read all the Harry Potter books and say all the Harry Potter movies, and they'll be like, "Well, you should read the books." And I'm like, well, I just told you to read the comics, and you told me no, so no, I'm not going to read the books.
Why would I do that?
Why would I do that? Like, this is what I don't like about the movie. Like, oh, well, you should read the books. Well, you should read the comics. And then you'll get a totally different, I guarantee you get a totally different understanding of what's going on. Yeah, so, but.
And like, the DCEU went a different route when it came to their protagonists. They went more like the dark and menacing route when it came to their characters.
Yeah, they went like, don't get me wrong, I like the movies. I'm on the fence. I'm a fan of Zack.
I'm on the fence.
I don't like Justice League at all. That's all I want to see what Zack does with Justice League.
I thought it was decent.
I mean,
you can definitely tell when Joss Whedon was directing and when Zack Snyder was directing. Like you can, if you're a movie and you can see like who did what scenes. You can definitely tell.
You mean like Flash and Wonder Woman's boots?
That's so ridiculous. So ridiculous.
That wouldn't even happen in the comics. She would
just why? Like really? Like Barry, Wally, Bart, whomever. Like none of them would do that.
You know what?
None of that.
But honestly, if it was Bart, it would be believable.
If it was in Bart, his character,
exactly. Like if it was, like honestly, I even said that too about the way that what's his name played Barry. Like I was like, he feels like Bart to me.
A lot of people kept saying it was more of a Wally West, but I can see what you're saying with Bart.
Yeah, he felt like more of a Bart to me. He didn't even feel like Wally because Wally was goofy, but when Wally took up the mantle of the Flash, Wally got serious. Like a lot of
he was a scientist first,
yeah, exactly. He was a scientist first, but a lot of people don't know. Like with Wally, Wally was the Flash that was in all the Justice League cartoon series, Justice League Unlimited that everybody loves, and a lot of the comics from the early '90s on. It was Wally who was the Flash until Barry came back.
Yep.
So, but a lot of people don't know that.
Like, I think it was like a little bit before Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's when he passed away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because he pretty much did what Barry did, just in reverse. And he disappeared and then, of course, came back recently. But
I will say though, I really like Man of Steel. I like the story they told. It was like that J. Michael Straczynski story that we were talking about before, where it had Superman like learning who he was, doing these odd jobs. Like he was like a today version of American in Kansas. He was like trying to do all these different things, and he hated his adopted father. His adopted father like raised him since he was a baby. He had all those things like you would probably see in a real life story, but like it's just I didn't care for the killing. But like I guess like when you really sit back and look at it, you look at the feeds on Facebook, you look at all the things that's going on, like it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like I think I don't know. I look at killing differently. Like if I
so do I do also,
but if I shoot you, like not you, but if I shoot someone head on, I killed them.
Yeah.
But if I made a peanut butter sandwich and they bit that and I didn't know they were allergic to peanut butters, or peanuts, did I really kill them or was it an accident? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of those deaths that happened, they were accidents because he was a straight up rookie. And I think that's what Zach was trying to put forward. Like, for instance, the oil rig, right? He saved all of those men. And I know a lot of people like to use that as an example. Well, he saved all the guys on the oil rig, so why can't he save everyone else? But that oil rig collapsed.
Yeah.
We all know that Superman has freaking, ice breath and all this other stuff. He could have easily, when they left, turned around, blew the ice, and probably stopped the freaking oil spill and everything else. However, he didn't know that. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And there was a lot of that. I'm sitting there the whole time. I'm looking at him like, this dude really does not know. He does not know what he's doing. Like
he doesn't. He had no idea.
Yeah, he learned how to fly with training wheels. Seriously,
just jumping up and down over and over again.
Yeah, and he ran into a mountain, and then he was like, "Okay, I think I got the hang of this. Let's do it." And it was building up to that. Building up to him being a hero that knows what he was doing, which was supposed to be Justice League.
Yeah.
But he was.
I don't think Zack Snyder executed like that story he was trying to convey very well. I think me personally, I think like he cared more about what Christopher Nolan had did with the Batman movies previously. And since Nolan was a mentor of his, I think he fed off that and just went with it, and it didn't execute well.
Yeah, and it had because I know like initially in their original plans before Christian Bale came back and said full no. I'm not coming back as Batman.
Right.
That was the original plan. Was Christian Bale's Batman was supposed to be beside, that version of Superman.
And honestly, that would have made more sense. Like him just saying, like, forget this. I'm gonna start using guns and killing people. Like that could have made more sense to the character also. Although that last movie, Dark Knight Rises, doesn't really lend to that. So, but yeah, Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises was the worst abomination of a superhero film since.
Oh yeah.
Since
you think so? You didn't like Dark Knight, right?
Since Guardians of the Galaxy.
And that was the third one, right? Where he fought Bane.
Yeah. Dark Knight Rises and Guardians of the Galaxy are two of the worst superhero films I've ever seen.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
You're about to get us kicked off social media.
I feel like I am. And don't get me wrong, the soundtrack was good at Guardians of the Galaxy, but that movie, I will say it to the end of time. Guardians of the Galaxy was Land Before Time in space.
Yeah, I like the first one. I didn't too much like the second one.
Didn't watch the second one because the first one was that bad. They ruined the Nova Corps. They just ruined the Nova Corps.
But see, that's the thing with Marvel. That's the thing with Marvel. Like Marvel has its layers, its forms, its cookie cutters, to say the least. So it has to have. What's up, Vanel? Like it has.
that's my response to that.
Like it has to have comedy somewhere. So I guess they figured they'll do that with the Nova Corps, even though we know if you read the comics, the Nova Corps really ain't anything to laugh at. Like,
they are not.
It's if they're there, it's something bad.
Something's bad.
They're not something to laugh at. They might have their comical characters within the Nova Corps, but the Nova Corps as a whole isn't comedic.
A lot of people compare it to the Green Lanterns. We talked about that before too. Like a lot of people compare the Nova Corps to the Green Lanterns. I don't think the Nova Corps is that much like the Green Lantern when it comes to how they handle situations. The Nova Corps get shit done.
Yeah, because the Nova Corps, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Nova Corps would kill, whereas the Green... Well, I won't say that, because the Green Lanterns would kill, too.
If they had to, yeah.
If they had to. So I think they're both in that same... I just think that with the Green Lantern Corps, they're a little more... Well, no. Both of them are actually space magic, if you really think about it. Both of them really are, because you got the Nova Force.
You got people like
space magic, so.
Jeff Johns layering down what the Green Lantern really is, what the Yellow Ranchers and all that other in Brightest Day and Blackest Night, those stories. It pretty much is just old magic, yeah.
Yeah. So they do have their similarities. I don't know, I'm more of a Green Lantern fan though.
Full on Green Lantern, no other spectrum.
Yeah. What? Oh well. Believe it or not, I think my favorite spectrum probably would be the Red Lantern Corps.
Ooh, you're atrocious, I tell you.
Yeah, because they have some. They got. You're just fully working off a rage, and if you're mad all the time, only way you're going to stop them is make them happy. You can't make them happy. So what are you going to do? And then if they throw up in your mouth. Congratulations!
Yes, and I'm glad they changed that. When they changed that whole theme of people having to vomit to your mouth because that was absolutely disgusting, and they couldn't talk either.
It was funny though. Vonell says he likes the lanterns better. He's more of a blue for hope all day. I feel you there. Yeah, I feel you there. I feel you there. The blue ones are good, but I think next to that, my next favorite because I do like I said, I do like the Green Lantern, of course, because they are who they are. But my next will probably be the Orange Lanterns, only because Larfleeze.
Well, you would be the only one.
He's the only one.
You would be the only one, yeah.
And the rest of his core are individuals that he absorbed into his lantern.
And driving them crazy with their greed,
exactly. Yeah, so they are his. Like, you are mine. You're with me. So that's the rest of his core. Like, if you're gonna be, that's the reason why I thought it was kind of weird when I think Lex got the orange. Yeah, Lex Luthor got the orange ring.
He's not really a greedy kind of guy. He's just power hungry, man.
Yeah, he is power hungry. I mean, I guess with that, that's that greed as far as power. He does have a power greed, and I guess that's probably the way he was able to overcome Larfleeze. I just thought it was a little weird that he that route, but so I don't know.
You reading anything right now? You reading any comics?
Any comics? Yeah, actually, I am working on. Well, I'm not working on any mainstream. Like, I've been in indie comic heaven. Like, there's so many indie comics out there. Like, I will tell this to everyone: if you're a mainstream comic reader, give indie comics a chance. Just give indie comics. There's so much stuff out there. So many different creators. So many different genres, so many different styles, so many different art. Like, yeah, you're gonna run across some that aren't that good, but you're gonna run across some mainstream that aren't that good. Like, we all have.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm one of those guys. Like, even in that comic book that we were reading, the T-Bird and Throttle, they had like these group of 3 guys talking about like, oh, this is some kind of indie comic book, and like I feel like it was a personal assault because I feel like that's the kind of stuff that I usually say when I hear indie comic books. But I get it, indie comic books. But if they're more like how your stories are written, where like everything is one entire universe, all folded together, and like had that cohesiveness to it, I would be more inclined like to get involved and stuff like that. But a lot of comic books, like a lot of them, they do like a 1-off or 2-off, and then like you never hear from them again. And like I get it, like a comic book is expensive to make, and like publish them out there, it's even more expensive and hard work to do. But it's hard to get invested in something like that when it won't stick around for that long, you know?
Yeah, and honestly, that's what I've heard a lot too. But trust me, there are some universes coming. There are. I'm working. The person's in chat. I'm not going to say anything. He's in chat. I'm not going to say anything about now. I'm talking to him. I'm not going to say anything.
What do you say to people though?
But there's one universe that's getting built, and I'm actually helping a little bit. But this dude has he's the one who did Delta Dogs. So
right,
you read those, yeah?
Millennial Comics, yeah.
No, but so I mean, they have a universe that's in the works, but he's working with the staple in building that. But yeah, that's like he's saying, that's one of our biggest problems. Like with a lot of individuals not wanting, because they're like, well, I don't want to get invested, because I don't know if there's going to be another one. But the thing is like, for me, like if I buy 100 books, and someone spends, like, and all those 100 books sell out, and then my books are $5 each, I make money for that, and that money can go back into the comic and go into the next issue, and so on and so forth. Because a lot of indie creators and stuff like that, they don't have the money. Like for me, I work in IT, so I'm kind of blessed in that aspect, kind of with paychecks and stuff.
You got a fun gun again.
Yeah, so I mean, I can supplement myself and everything like that. And that's the reason why like a lot of my books do come out slower, because I'm like, hey, I want the next issue to come out. I want it to be right. And it's going to come out no matter what. That's the reason why, like, I've told a lot of people, I'm like, my books are going to come out no matter what. They might not come out the next month, but they're going to come out. You're going to see them. Just like I know one person who read Yama Stigmata issue 1. She's been waiting on issue 2 for the longest. So whenever I posted the 3 covers to my Instagram, she was like, hell yeah, because she's been waiting for it, like, for a year.
So, like one of the main things to do with your indie comic career, like, is just to keep that hype going. Is that like one of the main?
You have to keep the hype going. You can't release a book, get your money, and then disappear, and then come back 2 years later saying, "Here's issue 2." Like, no,
it just won't work out that way.
It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. You got to keep the hype up. You got to show people what's coming. You got to keep posting your old stuff. You got to post some new stuff. You just got to be communicative, and that was something that I had to learn, because I'm kind of the type of person I am. I'm kind of a personal type person, so I didn't want to go out and just show my stuff. And then as I started looking at it,
I get that.
And then started looking at everything. I'm like, this is what people want. So now I show stuff. I'm like, hey, here's some panels, here's some characters, here's some character profiles. Here's this, here's that, here's what we're working on next. Like, and it keeps people there, and people keep asking, like, so when's the next issue coming out? Well, now since you guys are buying, comics, it's gonna be
Here we are. There you go. We're gonna come out a lot sooner than you thought it was going to. And you're talking about Kickstarters too, like how they help out every so often.
Yeah, Kickstarters and Indiegogos both. I support both of those platforms. That's probably going to get me in indie comics hell because supposedly there's a war between the two, but I don't freaking know.
I heard about that.
So I mean, it's like Comicsgate is on one, SJW's on the other. I don't know. The way I look at it, it's helping me give you something that you want. So if you're a Comicsgater and you like my comics, buy them. If you're a SJW and like my comics, buy them. I don't care. Just buy them. If you don't like my comics, not because of me, but because you didn't like the story, I hope you read the next issue. And if you don't like it then you don't buy them. You know, I'm not going to be the same person.
Or tell you what you don't like. You told me that also. Like,
or tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you don't like, because I like I'm the type of person, I'm all about growing. So if you, like earlier how you were giving me ideas with the Yamostigmata issue 1, things that I could have done better, you know, I like hearing that stuff. And even though I can't do that to issue 1 now, that is stuff that I can implement into next issues.
The learning
experience. Where it seems more, exactly, you know. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I think a lot of people's minds are on the wrong thing right now. I'm like, just create books. Just create books, man. Like for real, just create books. Don't get swallowed up in that. Just do books.
I mean, like that's probably the best option. Is to just focus on your work, do like your main job, and that's like their thing you have. But you know, focus on the books. Because I'm telling you, if for me, it's a person who was always hard to get into indie comic books. Mm-hmm. And now, like I'm in like the driver's seat or talking to people who do this stuff all the time. It's very reassuring and comforting to see them constantly talking about their work in different ways, having interaction with the fans about their work, want to talk about like at a sensitive pace, but without giving spoilers about their work. It's nice to see that in a way that just, you know, it's like it just feels good, like to hear people talking about their creations. It's like I'm talking with Tom King or Kelly Sudaconic, like about their work that they wrote on, or like just talking about it.
One of my favorites, honestly, who I think is probably really driving it home right now more than anyone, is Todd McFarlane. Like that dude, he still salivates over Spawn, and he made Spawn.
You mentioned it before, 90s,
and he's still like. You get him talking. He talks about Spawn, and he's just so excited. Like he wants to talk. He wants to tell you about it. Look, this is what I'm doing next, and this is going to be his new weapon, and this is what we're taking him in. I like that. Like personally, I like that, and that's what I'm trying to emulate myself to be like. When people ask me about my story, I can tell people all the time now. Like, if you want to know something, ask. You know, and I'm going to tell you. Like, we might be talking 30, 40 minutes later about it, but you'll know. You'll know because I love what I'm doing. You know, I love what I'm doing.
We're talking about that Spawn movie for almost like over a decade now.
Yep, and it's happening. From the last interview I saw him do, it is happening. He said in one of his last interviews, I think it was with Sci-Fi Wire. Yeah, Sci-Fi Wire. I know he did a short interview, and then he has an actual a documentary coming on Sci-Fi Wire. But he did say that him and Jamie Foxx, I guess, have been talking about it, so it's still there. So,
I wonder about that because Jamie Foxx also had like that other comic book project that he's working on. I forget the name of.
You're about to get Von L, man, if he's still in the chat.
He's not a fan of that new project of his, or?
Well, in Von L's comments, like I think I explained to y'all whenever I was talking about Delta Dogs for the last episode, he does have the pill thing, right?
Right. So Project Power, that's the name of it.
Yeah, so that is the one that Jamie Foxx is doing, but Von L in his comic book universe, they do have pills that can give people powers for a short amount of time.
I'm touching a nerve. Oh my goodness.
So like that came out. I remember when he because he's the one who actually showed me that trailer, and I was like, why does that look familiar? Then he showed me the picture. Then he showed me the picture of the character. I'm like, he got us bugged, man. Like,
just remember, you did it first, man. You started it. You're the revolutionary. Hollywood's copying your ideas.
Yep. So, but I don't know. It looks interesting. I definitely will watch it. I mean, Jamie Foxx is a good actor, and then he has what's the other actor's name? This one. Why am I pulling a blank right now? I am not good with people's names.
In the movie, you mean?
Yeah, the other one that's with him.
It's Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Drawing a blank, but yeah. So I think it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what they do.
I'm interested. I'm interested to see what happens. Like, I hope it goes well. It has like Courtney B. Vance inside of it too, and who doesn't love Courtney B. Vance? Man, the acting's always on point.
Yeah.
Like, go to some DC news. Scott Snyder is leaving the DC Central line. Did you hear about that?
Really? I did not hear about that.
He's not leaving DC comic books because, like, I'm pretty sure they got him like on a horror contract that he can't leave, but he wants to work on some of his own projects again. So like he said he's still gonna be doing superhero stuff, but he's gonna be focusing more on like low level stuff in DC comic books and not doing these big events like the Death Metal Night and Dark Metal and all these different things.
Did he do a couple things for Black Label too? I think
he wrote that what was it, that Batman story with Joker's heads in the lantern. I think he did that story.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he did that story. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
And don't quote me on that. But
I won't.
It's Batman the Last Night on Earth. That's what it's called. Batman Last Night on Earth. He did do that one. Yeah.
Like I said, I've been reading a lot of indie comics lately. So I have been reading DC and Marvel, but I've been reading a lot more indie lately.
Does that help you not following the big two? Like just telling the big two to shove off. Does that help you with your writing, reading more indie stuff?
Yeah, because to be honest, indie creators are my direct competition. I mean, I can't go up against DC or Marvel or anything right now. I mean, I'll probably be 60, 70-year-old man by the time I get to that level. But, unless something miraculous happens overnight, like I stumble into $2 million and all of a sudden it's like, let's get this going. Let's just keep going.
What would you do? Let's play that hypothetical. What would you do if you had $2 million? Like, you still got your universe?
If I stumbled into 200 million, I'll take 500,000 and put it towards stock, and the rest of it would go towards my business.
Always, you gotta be the responsible person, don't you?
Exactly, I do.
You couldn't just like have fun with it. You have to be responsible.
No, 500,000 in stock. I'm gonna go give me a stockbroker. Like, hey, first 500,000, put it in the best thing you can put it in, and then the 1.5. I'm just gonna go to my artist and be like, drop everything you're doing. Here's a payment for the next year. Let's get going. So that's what I'm gonna do.
No, I get that.
Like a lot of people do that. A lot of people want to have fun and stuff like that. And I don't blame them. I mean, I did a lot of drinking in my Marine Corps years, so I'm kind of done with the fun. So right now it's just if I ran across that type of money, it's game over for everyone else. So
all right, guys.
Hope and pray I don't.
You're just gonna kick those comic books, screw these comic books. Like I got stuff to do. Sorry, guys.
Yep, exactly. I'm gonna lock myself in here. I'm gonna do a Stephen King and lock myself away for like 24 hours. 3 comic strips.
You're horrible. Can't believe you said that. That's a wrong answer, dude. Wrong answer. Good God.
But
say what I do. I watch The Simpsons like all the way through from episode 1 to episode 500.
That's what you were doing?
No, not even close. But yeah, it sounds funny though.
just let the money sit in the corner of the room.
Pretty much, yeah. Just let it sit there. Not have to worry about nothing else for a while. Like I already got it. I don't need to have any more of it. I'm good.
I'm gonna make it make money.
Make money. You sound like very American. It's cool. It's what it is. I'm American too, so I can say it. Yeah.
Yep. Of course. That's the American dream.
Yeah, if you say so, but whatever. It sounds like my damn nightmare. Anyways, I think that's everything we got to talk about. Like anything else? Any TV shows you're watching?
Actually, no. I'm just actually starting over with The Big Bang Theory since I have HBO Max.
No.
It's one of those guilty pleasures. Like, sometimes I look at it, I'm like, man, that's offensive. Like, all nerds aren't like that. Like, I play football. Like, I'm a nerd, but I play football. So college level too. I was in the military. I'm not like that, but it is a good laugh every once in a while. Like, especially after a day of dealing with people where they do think you're the guy at a Big Bang Theory. So they say stupid stuff to you because you're in IT. But yeah. So I mean, it's a good laugh. But yeah, I was watching that. I actually watched, was it Chernobyl? I just watched that with my wife too.
You ready to cry? Is that what you're ready for? You getting like
Chernobyl?
I think it's sad. Chernobyl's super sad.
Like as it put more into perspective, but I was doing a lot of laughing because it was the one, the short HBO miniseries that they did. But I was like joking with my wife. I was like, I was like, the British, they didn't give a fuck. They weren't even gonna try to fake Russian accents.
No.
Like everybody was British. But I mean, it was a good movie. It was a very good series. Though I recommend anyone to go watch it. It's a good series, but I just thought that part was funny. I was like, they're not even gonna fake it. I was like, I can applaud that. Like, they're not even gonna fake it. Like, if it would have been made in America, they would have been faking Russian accents.
It would have been terrible.
Getting it all wrong and everything like that. So. But,
or it could have been like it was in the 90s where no one had Russian accent, they just had Russian decor. So yeah, there you go. That's how it used to go though, right?
Very, yeah. You talking about like the old action movies?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very true. Very true. So,
well, this has been fun. This has been Comics and Nonsense. Hopefully Brett will be back next week. Got like a different decal because this is, wouldn't say bad, but definitely different. Definitely different.
It's not the normal.
No, it's not.
The normal.
No, it got a big old restream right on top of it. I mean, things restream, get like free press out there, so there's that. This writing, you can't see this because I'm pretty sure like you can see my face and that's it. But I've been putting like decals and like the words at the bottom of the screen. Everything we talk about, I just put new things out there. Oh, you can see them.
I see them.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Oh, it actually helped me because what I was thinking about T-Bird and Throttle, like I kind of forgot
the name of the comic book.
So when I looked at it, I was like, oh man, that's right, it was Throttle. It was like this was bouncing around in my head, and I'm like, is it Throttle? I don't want to say the wrong name, and then I saw it up there. I was like, Throttle. Okay.
Hopefully, no one knows the fact that I spelled Kickstarter wrong. So like there's that too. Kickstarter.
Pretty fast.
What's that? Yeah, you saw
that? Dropped that pretty.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah. You probably dropped that pretty fast.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to talk and type at the same time sometimes. You got kids running inside. I'm pretty sure everyone heard that too. So yeah, you got your wife blowing a hairdryer right in the middle of the podcast. It's what it is.
It's fun times, man.
No day in my life. It's fine.
These are the days before the studio. This is the part that people don't see when they see people in the studios and people doing well. They don't see the streaming from the basement, streaming in the car. They sun shining in their face and all that other stuff as they're trying to do streaming. People don't see that part. They only see later. Like, I want to be that.
Yeah.
You got to go through all the other stuff first.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of crap leading up to that.
You got to like just crawl right through it. Oh yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm D, FTO Nerd Talk,
and I'm Tier with FTO Billboard and Sovereign Comics.
Yeah, and Sovereign Comics. Like, no, he wasn't being biased talking about his comic book. Just so you guys know, like, yeah, he wasn't.
Sometimes you have to self-promote.
I mean, you just got to do it.
Sometimes you got to talk about it because if I don't talk about it, I mean, I'm sure D and Brett will, but I have to talk about it too. I have to talk about it too. It's my product. So I hope no one out there is saying he's talking about his own stuff. Like that's the business. That's how business works.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I mean, Pepsi talks about their own products. They don't go out there talking about Coke. Just saying. All right.
They get it. They should. At least like they're going to understand. We don't worry them today, so don't worry about it. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. FTO Billboard is also on Facebook and Instagram. I think you're making Twitter sometime soon in the future. I have to. I'm gonna make one because I see you and Bray having fun over there. So I'm gonna go ahead and make me a Twitter, and hopefully I don't get attacked. And don't put light skinned women for dark skinned black fictional characters, and you'll be fine. So yeah,
yeah. If I get attacked, they're gonna kick me off Twitter forever.
Because you're a partner of anything. Yeah,
it's not gonna go well.
There you go.
So that's the reason why Sovereign Comics Twitter is just retweets. That's all I do with that.
Play the safe game. I got you.
Yeah, play the safe game.
And Sovereign Comics is everywhere. He just had a new comic called Stars that just came out. Check it out. I haven't read it yet, but it's in my pile to read. I'm really pumped about reading this book. It's like an all-female cast. They're all like diverse characters, and like their powers are super awesome. And they're like a rock group. It's like Dazzler meets Josie and the Pussycats meets like some multiverse superhero power team. Like just check it out. Exactly. It looks really cool.
Definitely check it. I think you'll like it. I think y'all will like it. It's fun. It's fun, and it's open ended. It's an open ended story, and I did that on purpose because I just want to do a lot of crazy stuff with them. With that story. So
you gotta have one wacky book. You gotta have like a team book.
You have to.
A wacky book. You gotta have like a super serious book. And you gotta have like a very powerful superhero team book. So yeah, you got
exactly. So I got them all.
He has all of it. He has all of it.
Richard Exos is more of the serious one. Gets into some dark storyline. Well, second issue of Yama Stigmata got into some dark. that one got dark. That one got dark.
Like oppressive dark. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're That's a perfect word for it. Oppressive dark. It got dark.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. So when that comes in, and when y'all
Bunny lives matter.
Yeah, they do.
That's all I gotta say. Bunny lives matter. That shit got dark.
It got dark. Yeah. So if you're easy to cry,
you may want to have somebody else read this and read it to you. So seriously, it gets pretty damn intense. There's some blips here and there inside the story, but it gets pretty dark. Yeah.
It helps. The way I cut it, it helps. I think. But I will say this: as I was writing it, I did have to step away for about 2.5 weeks, and that was before I even got to page 11.
See, that's how dark it is. He wants to start Twitter wars. Just think about his psyche. He wants to go out on a Twitter. That's the dumbest thing to do is start a Twitter war with somebody. Why would you want to do that on purpose? That ends careers, man. But he wants to do it, so there you go.
Exactly. And I'm the laughy giggle type. So when I wrote that, it broke my heart. I'm just gonna say that it broke my heart. So check it out when it comes in and sells. I don't sell yet. I gotta hook up my Kickstarter backers first, and once I hook them up, then
there you go. See, always thinking. All right, you gotta take it easy.
All right, take it.